Hey man, what up, man? Saturday, February 1st in the NBA. We've got a 9-game NBA slate. I've got 3 of my best bets in this video with 3 of the best player props you can take. So let me know how you're feeling in the comments today if you're vibing with any of these picks. But 9 games, we're going to go game by game through every single one of them today. And along the way, I'm going to give you the 3 player props that I think are smacking. Let's get to yesterday's recap and then we'll dive right in. Yesterday's recap was terrible, man. Not a good day from us. 0-2 in the videos. Tim Hardaway Jr. gets up 3 shots in the first quarter, goes 0 for 3. Drew Holiday, he was just out there watching people play yesterday, didn't really get up the volume at all. It happens sometimes with the Celtics, but Tatum gets it done for us, over points, doesn't get all the way up to 30. We did have a little ladder there for him to get to 30, doesn't get there. And then KD, you see the little same game parlay down there. 2 of those legs smack, but KD lands on 19 points, doesn't get it done. Sells the little same game parlay. That could have turned our day around a little bit. Still would have been a down day though. Not a good day, man. Still slightly up for the week, but after being up about 3 units on the week yesterday, lost 3 units. Really big downer there. But hey, keeping the vibes up. Let's get a bounce back today. First game on the board is the Atlanta Hawks versus the Indiana Pacers. Pacers have kind of owned the Hawks over the last couple of years. They've won 4 straight. A couple of those games putting up 150 points, if you guys remember those games last year. So total sitting at about 240 here. I mean, I have to lean the over. I have to lean the over now. A couple injuries here with the Hawks. You know, you're still going to be missing Clint Capella, it looks like. You're still obviously missing Jalen Johnson. He's done for the year, but just in case if you didn't know. But it does look like Trae Young's going to play. For the Pacers, Benedict Mathurin, Andrew Nembhard, those are the only guys with like injury concerns here. Benedict Mathurin, questionable with an illness, and Andrew Nembhard, I think, did miss last game. He is questionable for today's game as well. Some reports saying, hey, he's kind of on the up, like he could be back today. But if Benedict Mathurin was fully healthy, he'd probably be my favorite player prop here, especially if Andrew Nembhard was out. But since Andrew Nembhard is probably going to be back and now Benedict Mathurin's questionable, can't really back it. There's not a lot of Pacers props I like in this game, guys. There's really not. I mean, Pascal Siakam, if you're liking Pascal Siakam, just got named an all-star. Maybe rock with him. Now, Tyrese Halliburton, I mean, some of these guys have had good games versus the Hawks in the past. I mean, 3 of the last 4 games these guys have played, the Pacers have scored 150 points or more. So anybody could go off here. But if you're just looking off this year, like Tyrese Halliburton against really bad defenses at above the break 3, like the Hawks are dead last. They allow a lot of threes from the top of the key. When you look at Tyrese Halliburton against a bottom 10 team like that, he still only hit his points 6 of 15. We all know Halliburton, man. He gets hot, he's cold, you never know. Last 2 games has put up 28 and 30 points, so maybe he kind of keeps it rolling there. But you know, not the best. And then Hawks, very bad versus the pick and roll. You look at against bottom 10 defenses against the pick and roll ball handler. He's only hit his points line 9 of 22. It is against the Hawks. He could definitely fly over that. But even against bottom 10 defenses against the pick and roll ball handler, he's only hit his assist line 8 of 22. So I think if you're going off of anything here, you're probably liking the matchup versus the Hawks more than really any stats backing up what he's been doing for this season. If you feel me. Trae Young, I feel like, hey, last year didn't get named an all-star, started going bananas after he didn't get named an all-star. You could back Trae Young here, points, assists, everything. I mean, hell, you could back the Hawks today if you think Trae Young just has a game. But he's just been too inconsistent this year, man. I mean, you think he's going to have a bounce back, he doesn't. You think he's going to have a good game, he goes out there and shoots 7 for 33. So, I mean, today against the Pacers, high usage players always crush their points or assists or points plus assists. Trae Young is going to have the highest usage there. So I definitely lean his over points and assists. It's just, can you trust him? I can't, man. I've went like 0 for 3 on Trae Young points props this year. The man goes out there and shoots terrible, or he just doesn't hardly get up any volume, shoots like 14 times. So for me, I'm done with Trae Young, but I do lean his over. Another guy that could have a solid game there that's going to be probably his usage is going to start creeping up for them. DeAndre Hunter. I think DeAndre Hunter has been a solid 6-man off the bench there for the Hawks. 19.5 now. If you're looking off his past game logs versus the Pacers, hasn't been that good. Kind of booty cheeks. But in the spot versus the Pacers, how the Pacers defense is guarding guys this year, just I think right here, not a bad spot for DeAndre Hunter if you're liking him. Pacers aren't the greatest at guarding the interior there. I think DeAndre Hunter can get to the rim a little bit there. Aneka Okongwu, another Hawks player there. That's pretty bigger name since they're kind of banged up right now. He's going to get plenty of playing time. I lean his over points. His rebound line's at 9.5 today. Last couple games, 7 rebounds, 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 8 rebounds. I was really, really hoping the books would have this at about 7.5, 8.5. If they would have had it at 7.5, smack the over. 8.5, I lean the over. 9.5, I just feel like it's too high, man. feel like it's too high for what he's been doing. He's had some monster rebounding games as of late. Still no Clint Capella, so he could go crazy against the Pacers here. It's a good spot. I lean his overs, but I really want that line to be at 7.5 or 8.5. So if you see it there and you like it, I'm rocking with it, man. I got to kind of wait and see what that line does. Because if it gets, I doubt it's going to get down to 7.5, probably 8.5 at the best. I still 8.5 at like minus 140, minus 150. Just, I don't like it that much. If it's like 8.5 at minus 120, minus 110, I like that. So just wait for a line, see kind of what it does here. But right now I'm seeing 9.5. It's kind of plus 100. That's what I'm seeing it at. But in that game, I want to say I lean the Hawks. Just because I feel like, hey, Trae Young's going to have a game eventually here, and I think it's going to help out the Hawks side here. But I lean the over as well. I think it's a decent game for some player props. Just pick and choose who you like there. Nobody I'm personally on in that one. But second game, I do have a best bet in this next game. The other 5 o'clock Eastern game, Orlando Magic versus the Utah Jazz. Are you back in the Magic today? Because they have been unreliable. I don't know how you can halfway even be vibing with the Magic right now. Now, I do think they're going to get it rolling here. They are by far the better team compared to the Jazz. But the Jazz at home, man, hey, they are a sneaky team, man. You'll see them come out there and win a game, and you're like, wow, the Jazz won tonight. I'm not saying that could be the night, but the Magic aren't beating anybody by more than 8 points, guys. Their last 10 wins, they've only beat their last 10 opponents by 8 points. 5, 9, 9, 1, 4, 7, 5, 4, and 8 points. They have not won 2 of those 10 wins by 9 or more. Every other game, I mean, they're all within 10 points. If you know where I'm going, you know where I'm going because we just took him a couple nights ago. He sold us against the Timberwolves because the Jazz got blown out. I tell you guys, if the Jazz get blown out, don't take this guy. If you think the game's going to be close, which I think this game's going to be close, then take his over because he smacks it almost every time. Lauri Markkanen, over 17.5 points today versus the Magic. He's hit it 4-4 versus Paolo and the Magic. I know you see it on the screen right now, 4-4 when he's faced off versus Paolo and the Magic. Magic last 10 wins. I just named them off to you. In wins or in games within 12 points when Lauri Markkanen plays, in Jazz games within 12 points, he's hit this 14 of 23. And if you add on him in games within 12 points and him playing 30 plus minutes, he's hit this 17 of 21. So it's not like he's going up against the Magic, always going under this line. He's hit it 4-4 versus Paolo and the Magic. You've just seen last couple games, kind of been going under. Look at the Jazz. Look at the final score of those games, man. Any game that is within 12 points, he's usually hitting this. It doesn't matter who it's against. Last year, he absolutely hit this line like 90-some% of the time. This year, kind of taking a little bit of a dip, but still hitting it at a great amount, great rate. So Lauri Markkanen over 17.5 points. We're running it back on him. Third game on the board. Now we're going to start getting into some games that kind of have some blowout potential. So you're going to hear me talk about a lot of guys, but I'm not on a lot of props in these big blowout potential games. Like the next 3 games we're about to talk about have a lot of blowout potential. So I'm going to talk about some guys I don't mind, and then that's going to be about how we roll, man. So in this game, I do lean the Nuggets. I just think the Hornets don't have enough scoring right now. Hornets don't have enough scoring. Yes, they hung in there with the Clippers, but like I say, Clippers on the road, they always keep every game interesting. Every time. What did I tell you yesterday? You can't really back the Clippers there, even though I lean to the Clippers. You can't really back them because every game on the road, man, is a close one with them. Nuggets on the road here. Now, they are on a back-to-back. That does scare me a little bit because it would not surprise me if Jokic, Jamal Murray, somebody for the Nuggets, Aaron Gordon, somebody gets ruled out before game time. So if that happens, somebody gets ruled out here, I think these lines for the Nuggets might move a little bit. You might be able to get Russell Westbrook at a better line. You might be able to get whoever at a better line, Christian Brown. Like you might be able to get some of these guys at better lines depending on some injury news here because I think I have a feeling somebody's going to get ruled out. But in that game, I lean the Nuggets. I just don't think the Hornets have enough scoring right now. Miles Bridges is having to do everything. He just had to do everything last night. What did I tell you? He's going to be the only guy getting up 20, 25 plus shots. If you think he does, you got to take his over, man, just because of all volume alone. But against the Nuggets here, really not good at guarding the interior. Their defense is bottom 10 in the NBA. Now, I think Miles Bridges can score a little bit here, 24.5. I'm probably still going to say the same thing. I think it's got some blowout potential, but he might just hit it off of volume alone, man. Off volume alone. Now, you're going to see Jokic today, point line pretty low. There's a lot of Nuggets players that I would say stay away from it. Maybe just wait on see if some injuries come out, man. That's what I recommend at this time of this recording, about 9 a.m. Eastern here. I think there's going to be some guys that get injured or that are ruled out. Now, there is a point guard here for the Hornets. He used to play with the Thunder last year, got traded to the Hornets mid-year. I'm not even going to try to, Vasilit Mikic. I'm butchering the hell out of that name, boys. Butchering it. But I think he could have a decent game here, assists, rebounds, something like that. The guy who has been starting at the point guard for the Hornets, I remember him last year for the Thunder when I think Shea or Josh Giddey was out, and he would come in and have these random, like, big assist games. He did it with the Hornets a little bit last year. I lean his over RA, over assist there for the Hornets, and then maybe Miles Bridges if you think he gets up the volume, like, points-wise. But other than that, man, I still lean the Nuggets, but I think you got to wait on some injury news because I think those are going to change the lines a little bit for those guys in that game. But total 223, I probably still lean the over. I think the Nuggets can score 130 points. And then I think the Hornets can score 100. So I still lean the over 223 there, even though I still don't think the Hornets have hardly any offense. But moving on, Brooklyn Nets versus the Houston Rockets. Another game I think has big blowout potential. Now the Nets, when they're halfway healthy, man, when they have D'Lo, when they have Ben Simmons, when they have some of their guys, you know, they're competitive. I've been trying to tell you guys, they're competitive. They'll hang in there and cover the spread against some of these good teams. Now, Rockets at home, I think some guys could feast today. I think Amin Thompson could have a monster game. I think Jalen Green could have a monster game. Those are some of the main guys I'm liking there. Fred VanVleet, just too inconsistent for me right now. Alperen Sengun does look like he is questionable, so check around with him if you're not really loving him. But does look like for the Nets, I'm not seeing any injury question marks with D'Angelo Russell, Nick Claxton. Those are the two main guys there right now for the Nets. It does look like Cameron Johnson's going to be out. But if D'Lo's playing, it makes it a little more interesting just because it does seem like when he plays, the Nets kind of at least stay in some of these games. The spread is kind of big here. I definitely think it's a game the Rockets win. I mean, I'm pretty sure 99% of America probably thinks the same thing there. But in this spot here, Nets, I mean, they allow a lot of blocks plus steals, a lot of blocks and steals to opposing teams. I think Amin Thompson could hit that. I think Amin Thompson could hit his points here. There's a lot of props that I'm liking in this game for like Josh Hart or for Jalen Green and Amin Thompson. But like I said, I think blowout potential. I'm not messing with it. I just kind of I do lean the Rockets in that game. And at the total, probably leaning the under there. Probably leaning the under. I don't know how the Nets score 100 points there in that game. So probably leaning the under. Nets play at such a slow pace, man. I've watched 2 Nets games over the last like 2 weeks. Don't ask me why. I mean, I had a bet in those games, but man, they play at such a slow pace. And if they're missing their shots, it's hard for them to score even 90, 95 points. So I lean the under, lean the Rockets. That's where I'm at with it. Washington Wizards versus Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, in this game, man, I almost want to tell you to take the Wizards, but you've watched the Wizards over the last 10 games here. 0-10, losing every game by, it seems like 20 points. A lot of their games by 15 plus points. So I can't recommend the Wizards here. This is another easy stay away. Now, a couple guys to point out that could have some games here. Julius Randle does look like he is going to be possibly out in this game, if I'm not mistaken here. I am actually seeing out for Julius Randle. He's been ruled out. So no Julius Randle. Naz Reid going to step in there. I lean Naz Reid's over, man. I feel like when Naz Reid gets minutes, he balls. So Naz Reid over. Anthony Edwards always hits his points. I mean, Anthony Edwards drops like 30, 35 plus points against the Wizards every time he faces off. Could this be a blowout? Possibly, man. But in this spot, you know, I'm probably leaning Naz Reid the most. I think Naz Reid, if he's just hitting his shots here, I like him probably the most. But like I said, another game with blowout potential. Even if Naz Reid starts, he might only play 20, 25 minutes today just because this game could be a blowout. Wizards just looking really rough right now. There's nobody on the Wizards I like. There's just other games that I like better, so if you want to be honest. So moving on, Sacramento Kings versus the OKC Thunder. If you're still rocking with me right now, drop a like on the video. Let me know in the comments if you stuck around until about, 15, 20 minutes into this video here. But Sacramento Kings, Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC about 8.5 favorites, 8.5 point favorites here. For the injuries, not looking like there's any crazy injuries. The only guy that's really new to the injury report is Alex Caruso. If I'm not mistaken, Alex Caruso came back and then got re-injured again. He hasn't really been playing much for them anyways this year. But yeah, he came back for about 8 games and then got re-injured. But in this spot, you know, Lou Dort, I always like his overs versus the Kings. He always has good games versus the Kings. So if you're liking Lou Dort, rock with it. They are telling you something with De'Aaron Fox, man. De'Aaron Fox at 20.5 points today. I just think that's insanely low. I mean, with all the trade rumors going around with him, though, it's like I took him a couple times at 22.5. He didn't go over. And I feel like with all the trade rumors going on, I'm kind of staying away from him. But I do lean his over at 20.5. That's just too damn low. Too damn low. Shea at 34.5. I almost want to say lean the under. At 34.5, that's probably one of the highest point lines I've seen over the last couple of years. So 34.5, I got to lean the under, even though Kings defense. Kings play pretty quick, and their defense can really lack sometimes there. Domantas Sabonis always hits his points lines versus the Thunder. It seems like, I don't know why it's at 17.5 today. I lean that over. I feel like that should be a little bit higher. His rebound and assist line's too inflated for me to want to take it. Isaiah Hartenstein, he's had some okay. Isaiah Hartenstein, rebounds and assists. If you're looking at his rebound chances and assist chances, the man is getting a lot of rebound chances, a lot of assist chances when he faces up versus Sabonis. He'll get like 20 rebound chances, but only grab like 10 or 11 boards. 18 rebound chances, grab 9 boards. 11 assist chances, get 2 assists. Like, he's just had some games like that. But if you're trusting that the chances that he's getting, I mean, I lean his over RA there. But my next favorite play here is DeMar DeRozan. I'm rocking with DeMar DeRozan today, over 25.5 PRAs versus the Thunder here. Now, you could say a tough matchup versus the Thunder, but man, against good defenses, he's been smacking this. At 25.5 here, I really like it. If it goes up to 26.5, which it could, I still lean the over. But against defenses that rank top 50 or top 10 in defensive rating, he's hit the 7 of 10 this year and 2 of 3 on the road. Just hitting his points line alone. So if you're just looking at his points today at 19.5, he hit his points line against top 10 defenses in 7 of 10 as well. He's hit this 5 straight versus the Thunder, and that dates back to his first game with the Bulls there. So I like the spot here for him. On the road, he's been putting up a lot of points. I already like his RA, so if you're not trusting DeRozan points, I like his RA already. It's a tough matchup versus the Thunder, so there's not a lot of good stats to go off of, hey, Thunder aren't good at guarding the mid-range, where DeRozan likes to get a lot of his shots. Like, there's no stats really backing that up. Thunder defense is top 2 in the NBA, man. But I like the spot for DeRozan here. Gets good defenses, man. He's been hitting his RA, and on the road, he's been hitting his points. He's had some good games versus the Thunder. I'm rocking with DeRozan here. He's had a down game last 2 or 3 games. I think he gets back on track here. DeRozan over. 3 more games to go over. Los Angeles Lakers versus the New York Knicks. I am leaning the Lakers here plus 10.5. I think it's just too high. I know they're without AD, but Lakers, LeBron going into New York on a Saturday night. I think LeBron and the Lakers kind of keep this halfway close. Now, Knicks have been putting up a lot of points. I mean, they have just been going crazy, man. I mean, they are just balling out of control right now. 1 second here. I'm trying to pull up. Last 10 games, though, Lakers defense not been bad, man. Lakers defense has not been bad. If you're looking over the last 10 games, their defensive rating ranks 7th best in the NBA. 7th best over the last 10 games. Now, they have faced some bad teams over their last 10 or so games. The Wizards, Sixers, that's a decent team with Maxey there, I guess. Hornets, Warriors, Celtics, Wizards, Clippers, Nets, bad offense. I mean, just some bad offenses there, but I mean, I kind of am like, hey, I don't mind the Lakers here at plus 10.5. It was plus 9.5 about an hour ago. So now at plus 10.5, I kind of more lean in the Lakers. Now, I think this is more of a spot. I just don't see the Knicks continuing to put up 140 points, 120, 130 points. But against this Lakers defense isn't bad. Now, let's see what they do without AD now, because a lot of those games that I just said, their defensive ratings top 10 or whatever, AD played in a lot of those games. So Jackson Hayes, probably a downgrade there. But I think LeBron has a solid game. I think if they're going to hang in this game, LeBron's got to score 20, 25 points. So I lean LeBron over points there. Austin Reeves could possibly have a good game. I don't know, man. I feel like for the Knicks, there's a lot of guys I'm leaning over too. But I just kind of like the Lakers here. Brings us to our third best bet, man. Our third best bet. We are rocking with today, Los Angeles Lakers. This is on an alt line. Plus 12.5 on the alt line there with LeBron 20 plus points. It's about minus 120. I like the spot here for LeBron and the Lakers. I don't know why. I just feel like on a Saturday night going into New York, when you're looking at LeBron without AD, it seems like he scores 20 plus points every game. There's maybe been one game over the last 2 or 3 years without Anthony Davis in the lineup where he scored less than 20 points. So the 20 points for LeBron, if he doesn't score 20 points, they're not finishing within 12 points. They're going to get smoked. So this kind of goes hand in hand here. If LeBron scores and has a decent game, I think they kind of hang within that number there. Plus 12.5, pretty big spread there. So if you want to bump it up even more, rock with it. But like I said, the spread was plus 9.5 earlier. I see plus 10.5. So you might even be able to get that at plus 13.5 at the same odds that I got it at. But I still love the spot there even at plus 12.5. I'm not going to try to cash it out or try to do anything crazy. I'm just going to let it ride because I like the spot there for that game. That is the third best bet. Two more games to go over: Miami Heat versus the San Antonio Spurs. Hey, Wemby goes crazy yesterday. I said when Wemby has good games, the Spurs win. Wemby goes crazy, Spurs win yesterday. They smoked the Bucks. I'm telling you, if you think Wemby's having a good game, you might as well take. If you think Wemby goes over his points prop at 24.5, you might as well take Wemby on the point spread and then take the Spurs on an underdog spread, or take them as a money line, because they always are in games or win games most of the time when Wemby's scoring more than 25 points. I liked him yesterday just because I thought he would show up versus Giannis. He was 0-2 versus Giannis. I thought they reading into the narrative there, kind of, I thought Wemby was going to come out and have a good game and finally beat up on Giannis and the Bucks, and he did. But today on a back-to-back, I'm not in love with Wemby here versus the Heat, my bad. Wembanyama here, head-to-head versus the Heat. 21 points earlier this year. Last year didn't play him. Last year 18 and 18 points. So he's went under every game versus Bam and versus that Heat defense. For me, I'm not loving the spot here. Also on a back-to-back. If you're looking on a back-to-back this year, he's only went over this points line 1 of 8 games. 1 of 8 games. That was last year on a back-to-back. Excuse me. This year on a back-to-back, went over this points line 1 of 4. He scored 25 points, 12, 20, and 20. Last year on back-to-backs, only went over it 1 of 8. A lot of those games scoring less than 20 points. So if you're going off back-to-backs, under. If you're going off Wembanyama versus the Heat, under. Now, could he stay hot? He just went crazy yesterday. Could he stay hot? 100%. 100%. But I kind of more lean a lot of Spurs unders to where it's got me leaning the Heat here. It's got me leaning the Heat. And I say that because Chris Paul, I lean his under points today against the Heat. He really never goes over this points line versus the Heat. Besides, he did do it earlier this year versus the Spurs. He scored 10 points. But every other game when he used to play with the Suns, the Clippers, or the Warriors, never went over that points line. Assists, I don't mind his assist there at 7.5. I would lean that over. But even then, I'm just kind of almost more leaning the Heat, man. And you know how I feel about the Heat. I am not big on the Heat, man. I am not big on the Heat, but I probably do lean the Heat here against the Spurs. And I feel like that spread, if it gets up to -3, -3.5 for the Spurs, give me the Heat there on the spread, +3, +3.5, because I think they at least keep it very like a one-score ball game there. I just don't trust the Spurs, man. I told you guys. Before yesterday, the last game that they looked good was in Paris against the Pacers. Wembanyama's first game in Paris there. I think against the Bucks, he wanted to come out and have a good game, finally beat Giannis. Here against the Heat, I don't like it, man. If you're looking at the Spurs' last 10 games, they really have looked garbage. They've looked horrible. So I lean the Heat there. That's kind of where I'm at with it. And I'm just kind of like more, I lean Wembanyama under. I lean a lot more Spurs unders, to where it's got me just leaning the Heat in general and just saying, why take a lot of Spurs player props unders when you can just take the Heat and back them? Unless if you think the Heat just nobody scores today or they just have a bad overall game. But I do lean the Heat there. Last game on the board, Phoenix Suns versus the Portland Trailblazers. Phoenix Suns versus Portland Trailblazers. Phoenix get it done versus the Warriors last night. I was leaning the Suns. Regret not taking them because it was pretty sweat-free. KD doesn't really have the greatest game, but Devin Booker goes off. A couple guys for the Suns there have pretty decent games. Nick Richards goes off. Suns on a back-to-back, though, I don't want to back them on a back-to-back. I don't even like backing the Suns in general, really. But on a back-to-back this year, they are 2-5-1 against the spread. 2-5-1 against the spread this year on a back-to-back. I just don't love the spot for him, man. I really don't. I think it's a tricky spot here if you're even looking last year. So if you're looking since 2023 on no rest, Phoenix 10-11-1. So last year weren't that bad, but this year have been kind of bad on back-to-backs. I almost want to say I lean Portland just because, man, they are so annoying. They're so annoying. I feel like every time that I'm leaning the other team, like the last game they played, I was leaning the Magic. The Trailblazers go out there and beat them. I was even the game before that they faced the Bucks. I said I could see that game going either way, but it just seems like they've been covering like crazy, man. They've covered 7 straight games. 7 straight games they've covered. Against the Suns here on a back-to-back, I could see the Trailblazers beating them here straight up. So I don't like taking Suns props in general, really, especially on a back-to-back. Trailblazers, Jeremy Grant, I lean is over 10.5 points if he plays there. Denny Advia, 16.5 points. I'll have to look at him again if I really like his under or not. DeAndre Ayton against his old team, last 4 or 5 games, kind of finally starting to play some offense. Maybe he hits this versus his old team, man. Maybe he finally does. But I've watched DeAndre go out there and get up 6 shots in the whole game. So, but against his old team, maybe he goes out there and has a game. He's had some decent games versus the Suns in the past. He could hit his rebounds today, his points today. So maybe I need to check out some more games in that Trailblazer on that Trailblazer side. I don't really like any Suns guys there. Maybe some more guys on the Trailblazers. Maybe I have a potential ad or two in VIP, but we do have about 6 plays in VIP today. I think we have 5. So if you're interested in VIP, get locked in. If you want to join the free Discord, lock in the free Discord, man. Everything will be in a link in the description. Deposit match on Underdog up to $1,000 if you guys rock with Underdog. But that is the 9-game NBA slate, man. Couple plays, 3 best bets in this video, a couple more in VIP. But hey, man, let's have a little bounce back. Yesterday, not a good day. The reasoning behind the plays was kind of there, besides for Drew Holiday. He just sucked, but the reasoning for Tim Hardaway in yesterday's video was there. He got up the 3 shots that I was hoping for. He just didn't hit any, man. Tim Hardaway just goes 0 for 3. But today, let's get a nice bounce back. Let's smack these 3. Let's sweep today, and let's keep on going, man. For the month of 2025, for the month of January, had a nice little winning month, about up 8-9 units for the first month of January. Hoping to be up a little bit more than that, but let's keep it rolling. Let's have even a better month this month of February. Drop a like on the video. Let's have a damn day. Let's go.